Hi everyone, I'm Mrs. Sparks and I'm one of the English Language A-level teachers. So I want to begin by just recapping really on what English language is, and it's a subject which is unlike anything else that you'll have studied before. It's what we call a social science, and by that what I mean is it includes the following three elements. So it includes psychology, which is the study of an individual and the human mind and what influences their behaviour. It's a study of sociology, very similar to psychology, but instead we look at groups of people and how they function within society. And finally, it's made up of linguistics, which in simple terms is just the study of language. So if we have a look at the course in year 12, we begin by studying social groups. And what we do here is we actually think about ourselves as individuals and the way in which we speak. So if you think about your physical fingerprint, that's unique to you and nobody else in the entire world has got the same fingerprint. And it's very much the same with your language, and we talk about our linguistic fingerprint. So with that, like I say, we look at our own language and we think about what influences the words that we use and the way in which we speak. We consider things like a person's age and whether that has any impact on their language, a person's social class, their interests. For example, you can see some football fans there. Why is it that their language changes so dramatically from when they go to a football match to when they're in a professional setting to when they're maybe with their family? And so these are lots of really exciting questions which we think about. Then moving on, one of my favourite topics to teach is region, and that's the study of accents and dialects across the UK. And what we do here is we think about the sounds that are distributed and the words that are used in different parts of the UK, but we also think about some of the attitudes towards these accents and dialects and some of the stereotypes as well that are associated with different regional accents. We also look at gender, and essentially what we're trying to do here is answer the question, does our gender have any impact on the way in which we speak? Historically, there's lots of research which suggests that men swear a lot more than women, and women are much more polite and apologetic and maybe even a little bit passive in the way that they speak. But of course, what we try and do here is look at this through a critical lens and evaluate some of these theories and challenge them as well. So there's some really great opportunities within the study of gender to have some really brilliant discussions and debates. And then finally in year 12, we look at occupation and a person's sort of professional lexis and the way in which they use language in the workplace. So that's year 12 to begin with. Okay, moving on, year 13, we then study two really big topics. The first one is language change, and what we do here is we look at the way in which language has changed and evolved over time, and it's absolutely fascinating. In particular, some of the written changes that have taken place, and we look at what's influenced those. So we go right back to the 1700s up until the present day. And then secondly, we study how children and young children develop the ability to acquire and learn language, and that is to speak, to read and to write. And so what we're trying to do is explore whether children are born with the natural ability to do these three things, or actually to what extent is it their environment that influences them. So it's a real sort of nature versus nurture debate. Right, moving on, there is a little bit of coursework involved, and both pieces are fantastic in their own right. So the first piece of coursework which you'll do is a mini investigation, and this allows you to explore any aspect of language which you are specifically interested in. And you'll see on the screen I've listed just three examples of some really great pieces of coursework that we've had recently. Secondly, for those of you who really enjoy a bit of creative writing, this is a brilliant opportunity for you. So you can choose any text that you like. Again, I've listed some examples of pieces that have previously been done, and you get to exercise some of those creative writing skills. And it's a really, really exciting piece, again, which offers you lots and lots of freedom. So some really great opportunities for coursework there. And then finally, in terms of preparing for September, first of all, what we'd like you to do is go on to Firefly, and on there you'll find lots of induction resources and tasks. So that's the minimum that we'd like you to do. I know there'll be some of you who are interested to know if there's a textbook which goes along with the course. Now, you're not under any obligation or expected to get this, but if you would like to get it or look into it, I've put the textbook on the screen for you, which goes with the course. And then finally, just as an extra little task, if you would like to do this, it'd be great if you do. All that we ask you to do over the summer holidays is to collect a whole range of any texts. These can be emails that come through, it can be any social media messages from friends, any sort of takeaway menus from through the door. It can be any sort of text whatsoever. And just to get you thinking about language and how texts are produced and why they're produced, all I'd like you to do is just a small commentary next to each text. What is the genre of it? Who is it aimed at? Who's the audience? What's the purpose of it? What is it trying to achieve and to do? What is the mode? Is it spoken or written? Most of these are going to be written, of course, unless you decide to transcribe some spoken speech. And of course, the manner. Is it formal or informal? So I wish you all a very lovely summer, and we look forward to seeing you all in September.